Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to Kill the Cow Daily Devotional Podcast. I'm your host, R.A. I'm not a pastor, I'm not a preacher, I'm just somebody who puts their daily devotion online, and right now this is helping me keep sane, because I get a look up topic. Past couple weeks, I've been looking up Shine, Don't Steal My Shine, because of a song by I think it's Reverend Payton and the Big Damn Band. Well, it's coming to an end. I'm on the end of week 2, being at home in self-isolation because I am not an essential worker. And I understand that. I make t-shirts for a living. That's cool, that's great, that's grand. But it doesn't help my dark side, depression, whatever you want to call it. I'm not depressed. If anything, I'm just like a moody teenager. But today we are not going to let that stumble in our first half of the show. Right now, let's pick up in John 1, verse 1 through 18. So verse 1, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was in the beginning with God. All things were made through him, and without him was not anything made that was made. In him was life, and the life was light of men. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. There was a man sent from God, his name, let's reverse that. Verse 6, there was a man sent from God, whose name was John. He came as a witness to bear witness about the light, that all might believe through him. He was not the light, but came to bear witness about the light. The true light, which enlightens everyone, was coming into the world. He was in the world, and the world was made through him, yet the world did not know him. He came to his own, and his own people did not receive him. But to all who did receive him, who believed in his name, he gave the right to become children of God, who were born not of blood, nor of the will of the flesh, nor the will of man, but of God. And the Word became flesh and dwelt among us, and we have seen his glory as of the only Son from the Father, full of grace and truth. And it has right here, John bore witness about him and cried out, this was he of whom I said, he who comes after me ranks before me, because he was before me. In parentheses, verse 16, and from the fullness we have all received grace upon grace, for the law was given through Moses, grace and truth came through Jesus Christ. No one has ever seen God, the only God, who is at the Father's side. He has made him known. So yes, that is a little bit of a tongue twister. Yes, there's one verse I'm going to focus in on today, but that is because the darkness seems to be creeping in. There's things that I will describe in the second half once we get through the first half, which is Bible focused, because that's just how I feel I do my podcast. Focusing on the Word, add the other stuff later, if necessary. Right now, without further ado, I will see you on the other side of this ad break. Alright, welcome back to Kill the Cow Daily Devotional Podcast. I'm your host, R.A. Remember, I'm not a pastor, I'm not a preacher. I foolishly put my daily devotion online because it helps me. It keeps me sane, and it's been working. I'm definitely not. In 2008, when this happened the first time, and I was laid off from my job, I definitely went into a darker place. I've kept it at bay, but I can feel the darkness kind of creeping in just because I'm still maintaining the schedule. I'm still maintaining some normality, but just to realize in the Bible, there is parts of the darker times, and you see how characters in the Word relate to it. And there's a verse in today that really, I'm not completely losing my shine yet. I'm resisting with all my might that I will not lose my shine, and I'm staying positive. Amazing things are happening. It's just going through it alone and not having people who say how amazing you are and how much you're needed, but yet nobody contacts you. That's the part that's getting to me right now. And it's verses like this that are keeping me going. In all honesty, and that's why I single out verses and sections like that, because it has the staying power to keep me going on a daily basis. And that's why I have to, no matter what, get in my Word. And that's it. So, without further ado, we are a minute 40 into it of me rambling, but today we are going to stick with John 1 through 18. And just the second half of the show, we kind of flow with it. It's a lighter reading. I'm adding more into it, going in depth in certain parts. So, without further ado, verse 1. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and Word was God. He was in the beginning with God. All things made through him, and without him not saying anything made that was made. Basically, God, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit were together kicking it old school, doing all this stuff, raising basically everything that was ever going to happen. I mean, that's cool to know that not only God was there. Well, I believe in the Trinity, so I mean all three were there. But the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit all in there just going for it. In him was life, and life was the light of men. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. So there is nothing that overcomes the light. And that is the main thing today. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. And if you read that after verse 4, in him was life, and the life was the light of men. So we have light. If you ask Christ into your life and he transforms your life into something, darkness will not overcome it. And I wanted so bad yesterday. I heard somebody say that we don't know the outcome. We don't know the ending. We don't know. And I was just like, I was biting my tongue saying, do you not understand the victory is already won? Do you not understand that what we're going through has already been decided? Do you not and I think that's another thing that's getting me down is like people coming out with conspiracies. And it very much may be that the coronavirus is a ploy to get us to get the chip and we won't be able to buy this and that without it. Who cares? There are people out there that are worse off than me. There are people out there that have no hope. They have no discipline. They have nothing, and they will commit suicide during this time because they're living in a hopeless world. I mean, have you stopped to think about it? Rather than we being the beneficial, I don't know how to say it. We are the ones that are going to benefit what the Bible has to say because we know the truth. We know the end. We know how this ends. But there are people that have no hope. They don't understand what we understand, and they just kick it. And by kick it, I mean kick the bucket because they don't know how to handle it. There's times where there was no hope within the past. I mean, I've been going through this since 2012 with the really, really bad parts. There's a brief stint in high school in 2001 where I was actually on the ledge of the opposing team's sky nest or whatever on the football field. And now realizing it wasn't high enough to actually do anything, I would have probably just become a vegetable. But remembering and not having that hope a little after, and that was because of a car wreck that I hurt one person. There are thousands of people hurting, but yet we in the church are talking about a conspiracy theory that they're already going to give up. Yeah, we can fight the chip because we know that I don't exactly know if it's in the Bible that's a sign of the end time. The mark of the beast, it makes sense for a computer chip, but guess what? That doesn't signify that's it. And it's just all these frustrating things because there are people out there, even within the church, that are hopeless, and it's not going to be the virus that's getting them. It's going to be the isolation. It's going to be the worry. It's going to be the doubt. And we're sitting here talking about conspiracies and not knowing the end. All right, that's my high horse for today. He came as a witness to bear witness about the light, and that we might believe through him. He was not the light, but came to bear witness about the light. The true light, which enlightens everyone, was coming into the world. He was in the world, and the world was made through him, yet the world did not know him. They didn't know Jesus. That's assuming who they're talking about. Because later in the verse, you'll see what I'm talking about. This is a lot about John and Jesus and how the relationship was and how John the Baptist confirmed who Jesus was. And he gave the right, but all who did not receive him. Okay, verse 11. He came to his own people and did not receive him. And it could be talking about the city when he went in. And, I mean, there's a whole part when he sent out the 72 disciples. And he told them, if they do not receive you, just brush off the dirt from your feet and walk away. So, I mean, his own people, it could be talking about his town, but it could be talking about his specific race of people. They did not receive him. Verse 12, but to all who did receive him, who believed in his name, he gave the right to become children of God, who were born not of blood, nor the will of the flesh, nor the will of man, but of God. So that is talking about us, the ones who chose him, the one that he gave us the right to be born, not of blood, nor of the flesh, nor of the will of man, but of God. Verse 14, and the Word became flesh and dwelt among us, and we have seen his glory, glory as the only Son from the Father, full of grace and truth. John bore witness about him and cried out, this is whom I said, he who comes after me ranks before me, because he was before me. So even John was like, this is a big shout out to the original God who gave me life, who gave me everything. The one that is came before me. He is a real deal. We need to pay attention to him. You may see me as a leader, but he turned his glory, whatever he could have had on earth. To me, it's like a mega pastor. Instead of having glory on him and having TV stations and mansions and everything, it's like saying, no, I am not the one. Jesus is the way, the truth, and the light. Only through him. My planes will not save you. My mega church will not save you. That seat in the nosebleed section that you only come once a week and you do not do anything within church will not save you. Yes, I am being extremely nitpicky because I'm tired. I'm tired of so many things that we stand by and we just allow to happen. We stand back and we allow the darkness to surround us. But right here, the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. We will not be struck down. We will not be destroyed. We win in the end. We will look for our enemies, and Jesus is already taken care of. I mean, think about that. We have the power to unleash Jesus on them. If we call out in his name, he will respond. So in times like this, when we're fighting, we think we're fighting alone, but if we actually know who Jesus is, he will be there. He will win the fight for us. He has already won the fight. And yes, there are times when we ask selfishly, and we will not like the answer. That's the sucky part, because we have blinders on when it comes to certain things. With me and starting the business that I'm starting, I do not want to own my own business, and I still am fighting it in a large part of the way. And the one way I've gotten around it is being quote unquote a freelancer and being hired and just receiving a paycheck. I take care of all my taxes and all that just like a business owner, but I'm employed by the company. I don't know. I mean, God's calling me out of the boat right now, and it's just, I have a complete faith in what's happening. I know my wife is concerned, and I love her for that no matter what. It has been, I can see her concerns, and I know it's just for my benefit. It's not, I joke with her, but it's an insider thing. I jokingly say some things, but that's because I'm trying to lighten the mood. I'm trying to make it easier to understand why I'm thinking the way I am, why I'm seeing the situation in the way I am. I mean, in 2008 through 2010, I had no job. I was on unemployment. We never missed a payment. We never went without. Were there lean times? Hell yeah. But we always made it through, and it was through Jesus Christ. And I made the comment yesterday. I was like, just think, that was on my terms. That was me telling God what I was doing. Just think now, going through this again and realizing Jesus is my daily bread, my portion. Even if I'm wandering through the desert for the next 40 years, God still provided manna. Every day they had their needs met. And that's what I want in this situation. Every day I want my needs met. And that's it. Everything else is going to be an adventure. Everything else is going to be a journey. If I start a full-out print business, I guess it has to be fine. Right now, I'm okay with being a freelance and being hired by companies because I have their protection, a hedge of protection between me and the real world, I guess. I'm still employed by them. Let's get back with verse 16. And from his fulfillment, we have all received grace upon us. For the law was given through Moses, grace and truth came through Jesus Christ. So, right there, we still have the law through Moses, but we have grace, truth, and later on the ushering of the Holy Spirit when Jesus had to go, when he was the final sacrifice for all mankind's sin. So no one has ever seen God, the only God who is at the Father's side. He has made him known. I can't think of a better way to end today. So until I see you next week, later days.